Hey guys, welcome to Kuber TV. Just running through my Exalted deck, the 60 cards that I'm currently using, playtesting, just so we're clear, we are playtesting this deck. This is not as a guide per se. I'm not saying that any of these cards is the way you should run this deck. This is a playtest, and I'm kind of looking for feedback on maybe other people that have been using the deck and how they're finding it and what changes maybe I should make to the deck to make it better. So without further ado, I'll run through the cards that I'm running. So quickly, Cathedral of War, it's a land. Cathedral of War enters battlefield tapped, but it's exalted and adds +1 to your mana pool, so I run that because basically it's +1 to your mana pool and an exalted card on the battlefield. I run both of them. I'm currently running only 2 of the evolving winds. I was running 4, but I've chopped it down because I felt the deck needed more creatures, so I run 2 of these. You have to, I think, at least run 2. 2 is a minimum. You need to be able to access the plains. Currently I'm running 12 swamps and 8 plains, and you need access. So these cards are annoying me because they're basically a waste of a spot in your deck, because they take up a spot but they don't gain you anything in a sense. I don't know if I've explained that properly, but anyway, who cares. So, but I'm running 2 of them just so I can get the plains. Right, on at the creatures, 1/1, duty-bound skeleton, exalted, and if you get up to the 4 power, you can become regenerated. He's a 0/2. I run 2 of them. I run 2 of the Aven Squire, sorry. Flying, exalted, it's a plains, it's white, and it's a 1/1. So I run 2 of them. I also run the dark lit gargoyle. He's an artifact creature. The reason I run him is because he gets +2, -1 if you tap a swamp. But if you're going in with exalted and you've got creatures that give pump up his back bit, you can, if he goes up to 4, you can then pump him twice, and he can do a lot of damage, especially early game. I mean, you're talking about turn 3, turn 4, you can be getting for quite a bit of damage with this guy, so that's why I run 2 of them. Demonic Tutor, dead simple, it's a 2 cost, sacrifice a swamp, and you go and get a card from your deck. It just allows you to go and pick something helpful, so I'll run that. First, power 2 creatures, knights. Knight of Glory, he's your pro black, exalted, great card against the obedient dead deck. You need to run this guy, so I run all 3 of them currently. Knight of Infamy, he's just the opposite of the Knight of Glory, and he's pro white. Onto this card, Mark of Asylum. I run this card because it's really good against Chandra's deck. Against Chandra's deck because it prevents all non-combat damage. It doesn't prevent your creatures from being killed, i.e. murders and stuff, but against the Chandra's deck that does a lot of damage with spells, this card is really handy. It's one of these weird cards that's really good against a certain deck, and then against other decks it's completely pointless. Like Pack Instincts, for example. The very few creatures, don't think anything in that actually does damage to you unless it's combat. So, but I run it because against Chandras, if you draw it, it can win you the game. I run 1 Dark Claw Imp. I don't run both of them. I don't see the point in running both of them, because most of the time you're swinging in with Exalted, so you're only swinging in with 1 creature, so if you had both of them in your hand you'd be sad-faced. So I run 1 of them. He's a flying 3/1, but he can't block. But he gets over the top. I run the Mortify card, one of the new ones, destroy target creature enhancement, so I run 1 of them. I run the Pillar of Sleeplessness, put it on a creature and it loses 1 health at the start of at the beginning of its upkeep phase. I am currently still running the Royal Assassin, destroy target tap creature, just because the times I've run him, he scares the opponent. They're like, ooh, I don't actually know if I want to attack now, because if I attack, I'm dead next turn. So unless they've got something to deal with him, he seems to put them off from attacking. The games that I've drawn him anyway. Oops, skipping too far ahead. Next creature, the Servant of Neforx, I think that's how you say it. Excuse me. Human Clerk, it's a 3/1 exalted. It's basically exactly the same as the Imp, but the Imp has flying obviously, and doesn't have exalted, but 3/1. I'm not a big fan of this card because of the 1 in the back. It's not really a blocker, but it's a creature and I wanted more creatures in the deck, so that's kind of why I'm running it, if that makes sense. I'm currently running the Sword of Vengeance, really for a couple of key things. The First Strike and the Trample. If you're going to be only swinging in with 1 creature, the First Strike and the Trample are really good, especially on something big. If you've got the artifact guy that I'll get to later on, then they can only attack with 1 creature, so the vigilance also allows you to block. I'm playtesting this card. I'm not decided if it's going to stay in the deck, but currently it's in there. I am currently running the 3 Unmakes, excel target creatures. These are your kill cards. I currently run the 2 Vindicates, which we gained from the you gain an extra one from the deck unlocks. You can ping lands early on if they're maybe mana blocked and really frustrate them. You can ping a land late on if they're also mana blocked, and it puts them down and they're like, ah, I just played a game which I didn't record that I pinged a land because he was on 3 and he had been mana blocked for 2 turns and he just rage quit. So it's a good card, plus it can destroy anything, so it's another kill card. Quickly moving on, Whisper Silk Cloak. Equip creature is unblockable on a Shroud. Yet again, good against the red deck, Chandra's deck, and also a good against the Obedient Dead deck. Prevents him from you killing off creatures. So I currently only run 1. I don't run the 2 of them, I just run the 1. The No Mercy, I think this is a must. It's a 4 cost, but whenever their creatures attack, they're dead. It's just basically a big scary wall, especially early doors. If they've only got weak creatures, they might not want to sacrifice them, or a big creature they might not want to swing in unless they know they're going to win. I run currently one of the Silent Arbiters. No more than 1 creature can attack and no more 1 creature can block. He's a 1/5, so he's a 4 cost, he's an artifact. I run him. He can win you the game, but he just slows the game down though. That's the one thing, the game becomes quite slow in a sense, but Exalted is a slow deck, just the way you're swinging it and it's like powering up, so I run him. I think he's part of the deck, he seems to be, so I'm kind of currently running him, and I can't really say anything good about him or bad, he's just a card in my opinion. Sublime Archangel, I like this card. Flying, and all other creatures you have control get exalted. Even if they've got exalted, they'll get it again, so good card. 4 cost, he's one of your whites. Moving on, Worship. If you've got, as long as you've got 1 creature, life can no longer be reduced to under 1, it still stays at 1, so that can keep you in the games. If you've got more than 3 creatures out, then there's nothing they can do, especially against decks like Pack Instincts. The only way they can kill creatures is through their Unveiling Wall Tracker, or Prey Upons, and they've only got 3 Prey Upons in the deck, and if you kill the Unveiling Wall Tracker, then as long as you've got a creature out, they can't win. Moving on, Battle Grace Angel, Flying Exalted. Whenever any 1 creature attacks alone, they get lifelink, so 5 cost. Run that. Moving on to the big ones, the Deathbringer Leech, have to run him, +1/+1 for black and white. He is a black and a white, so if you run both of them together, they double up on each other. Plus, if you start casting black spells, you can kill creatures, white creatures tap, and if you cast a black and a white spell like one of them, you can do both. Good card. My Divinity of Pride, I run both of them. Yet again, it's a black and a white. Flying lifelink, it gets +4/+4 as long as you've got more than 25 life. How often does that happen? I'd say 50-50. Usually you can, if you get them on early enough and they've not got anything, you will get the +4/+4, but most of the time you'll be a 4/4. But I do run both of them. I'll also run the Knee Forks, Overlord of Graxis. 6 costs with the Swamps, Flying Exalted, and when he attacks alone, an opponent must sacrifice a creature. He's never won me a game, but he's come close to, so I do run him. I also run the Angel of Despair. I've never cast that. The 7 cost is such a epic journey to get to sometimes in this deck, so I run it because it's a good card. It is a good card, flying, and it was from the previous one. Right, quickly run through the cards I'm not running. As I said, I've dropped both 2 of the Evolving Winds. Oops, I'll put 1 back in. I've also dropped this Signal of Distinction, don't like it. Spend power and put +1/+1s on a creature, but you have to, every time you put this on something or remove it, it loses 1. Don't like it. I'm currently not running the Erskine Squire 1/1 Exalted White. I don't run that. I could do, but I'd rather have something stronger, especially against the black deck. As I said, I only run 2 Duty Bounds. I don't run this. Seize Initiative. It gives your creature first strike and +1 till the end of the turn. I mean, it's only a 1 cost, but never. It's not going to win you the game. It's not. I mean, it's a delay card or win you a small battle, but not a huge card. So I don't run it. I'd rather have a creature. I don't run the Tormented Soul, even though with Exalted he could be quite good. I prefer not to run him. He can't block and he's only a 1/1. As I said, I run 2 of the Avon Squires. I don't run this dude, even though the lifelink is a huge thing. Child of the Night, with the 2 and the 1, I'd rather have something else. As I said, I've swapped out. I'd rather have the Gargoyle for that cost. I'd rather have an Imp later on with a 3 cost, just to fill gaps. I don't run any of the Doomblades. You might say, why would you not run a destroy creature card? Because it doesn't destroy black. That's why there's nothing worse, especially with everybody playing Obedient Dead right now, because everybody's playing Obedient Dead drawing these. I drew 2 of them, and then a third one against Obedient Dead in one of my games. I wasn't recording that, I was just like, oh that's just so sad, because it's useless. So I just took them out straight after that. I thought there's so many other kill cards, I'll run them instead. Yet again, like the previous sort of trick, Mighty Leap +2/+2 and fly into the end of turn, don't bother. I've got a lot of kill cards, so I'd rather run them than basically pacify a creature. I mean, their abilities still work, so I don't run either of them. I don't run the rings, don't equip it, cost blah blah blah, not worth it. One of the cards that I would like to run but currently don't have space in the deck, and that might change, is the enhanced creature. This is one of the things I'd maybe swap with the sword, because you get +1/+1 but you get protections from creatures, which means you can block anything except if it has trample, because then the trample will go over the top of you. But that's quite a good card, and I did run it before, but I've taken it out of the deck so far. I'm just not currently running it. One of the imps I've dropped. I don't run any of the walls. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't really prevent an opponent attacking because it's got 0, so I don't like it, and it's a 3 cost. I mean, it does have Exalted, but I'd rather not run it. As I said, I run only one of them. I don't run any of the Angelic Benedictions. 4 cost makes it expensive. I mean, it can tap a creature, but I'd rather not run that. I'd rather have something else in the deck. But there, yet again, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe I should have at least one of them in the deck, take something else out. I don't know. I don't run this guy because he's 4. He's a 4 cost 2/2. Yes, he has Exalted and Haste, but if he's coming in on turn 4, the Haste is pretty useless, especially against some decks like Pack Instincts that'll have some huge creatures out at that point. He can just not be anything. The only time that I ran him is I ran him because I was thinking he could be good late on. If my opponent decimates my side but also has to sacrifice a lot of his creatures and is weak, I can drop him and swing in for lethal. But it never worked, and I've never found a use for him. He never seems to work for me, so that's why I've dropped him. As I said, I only run one of these. And then we come on to Debtor's Kneel. I do not run this card. I wanted to run it because it just sounds so good. At the beginning of it, put a target creature from a graveyard on the battlefield. That sounds really good in theory. Yet there tends to be nothing particularly large in the graveyards. The 2 times I've cast it, that's the 2 times because it's a 7 cost. There was nothing there. I went and got a Knight out, and it was like I was already in a position where I'd won the game, or I was in a strong position to win the game, so it didn't add to anything. So there you go, guys, there's my current 60 cards. I hope you can leave good comments in the below, give me some constructive criticism, tell me what maybe I should be dropping out and replacing. Maybe you're a big fan of this card, but if you are a fan of this card, what should I take out my current format? Let me know, help me work this deck, because I want to make this deck work. Anyway guys, hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said, I'll upload a lot of games of, actually quickly going to that, I'll load up a lot of games of Exalted Darkness. They're not all of this current deck format, some of them were the previous one that I recorded, but it turned out to be really quite rubbish, so I've mixed it around. But I've got a few games to upload, some wins, some losses. I hope you'll watch them as well. Anyway guys, hope you've enjoyed this video again. Kuber TV, signing out.